I hate making these kind of videos, man. Like, this is the whole point of the channel, though, isn't it? Like, I've said so many times before that I want this community to be, the healthiest, most thriving community of Man United fans in the world. But unfortunately, there are things that are annoying. And, being healthy doesn't mean you have to just ignore all the bad things that are going on. I just think there's a way to talk about them. And I'm going to demonstrate that today because I'm really annoyed. I'm not going to lie. I'm really annoyed with the situation regarding player power. And it's kind of been ignited by the social media post from Alejandro Garnacho yesterday. And there's a few things that I kind of want to point out with all of them and kind of what it means for Amorim, what it means for the rest of the season. But before we get into that, drop a subscribe and drop a like on the video because you guys have been insane. I mean, we're nearly at 5,500 subs. At the beginning of this month, we were at 3 point something. And I hosted a stream yesterday. People say, let's get 10k before the start of the season. Let's do it. Why not? I mean, the 5k giveaway is being sorted as we speak. The 10k giveaway is going to be ridiculous. So please do, if you want to be a part of a channel that isn't just going to dive into the toxic stuff and just call people names and just do what loads of other channels do for the sake of doing them, then join this one. We want to have good, healthy conversations around our favorite club, and that's what we're here to do. So let's just get straight into it because I don't want this to be a long-winded episode, kind of like my other ones have been. And I have just kind of woken up, hence the cockatoo. So just ignore that as well. You're not going to ignore it. I've pointed it out. You're going to mention it all video, so fair enough. But I wanted to touch on a few points that were made from a few people actually around the Garnacho social media post yesterday. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, he posted what people said was quite a cryptic post on social media on Instagram, like a photo carousel, and one of them was him walking past some like nice cars, and he had a Rashford shirt on, like a Rashford Aston Villa shirt on, wearing the number 9 and all this sort of stuff. And people just kind of went into, there were two camps with it. Some were just like, oh, it's his mate, why are you getting annoyed? And the other ones were like, this disrespectful to the club. Now, the way I see this whole thing is that as an isolated incident, it's not that deep at all, really. You are just wearing a shirt with your mate's name on the back. It's not that deep. Like, if it was a classic shirt and he played for somebody else, I don't think anyone would be annoyed. And people started resurfacing pictures of Patrick Dorgu in a Roma shirt or Ahmad in a Brighton shirt and all that kind of stuff. And I understand that point. I do understand that point. But as an isolated incident, that's where you can sort of look at those points and say, yeah, they helped to mitigate the circumstance. But this isn't an isolated incident. This is a pattern of behaviour from Alejandro Garnacho, which points to either just being like non-self-aware about the things that are going on, or, almost purposefully poking the bear just because he thinks it's funny or his entourage thinks it's funny. But this is one in a series of things. And if it was one or two mistakes, you can say, you're a kid, you're 20 odd years old with all the money in the world, all the attention, all the fame and a phone. That's a recipe for disaster, so we can write that off. But no, because, I remember there were times where he's liking tweets from Mark Goldbridge, of all people, about sacking Ten Hag, and how they would, about the Piers Morgan interview, liking posts about what Ronaldo said about Ten Hag, about the current manager, about a player that's just gone. Why would you do that? And then there were disciplinary issues for why he was left out, why he and someone I'm going to get onto, the person whose shirt he wore, were left out of the Manchester derby, a derby that we actually ended up winning away at the Etihad. And then you get those comments after the Europa League final, which are so self-serving that it's almost like he doesn't really care what happens to Manchester United, as long as whatever happens to Alejandro Garnacho is okay. And it's so often the case that with any sorts of players really with a bit of talent that get a bit of notoriety in the things that they're doing, we always say it's the people you keep, it's the friends you keep, and he's got a terrible entourage around him. And I say that because he's routinely getting himself into these situations. These aren't isolated incidents, they are constant now with him. And he's only broken into the squad about 2.5 years ago at a push under Ten Hag, and we're talking about these constantly. 3 years it might have been, but we're talking about them constantly. And it's just a problem all the time. Everything is self-serving to him. It's all about Alejandro Garnacho, and it can't ever be like that. It has to be about the team. And we're talking about him, and we're talking about some of the comments that he's made and what Ruben's made in retaliation to that. And I just don't like the amount of toxicity that's within the dressing room at the minute. And you can't say it's been headed up by the same people the entire time. I feel like it is just people who have seen what's gone on in the past, or maybe it's a brand new incident and they just think they can get away with it because we're not being run with the same level of authoritarianism that we were before. But that shouldn't be a reason for why we should lie down and accept these flagrant disregard for the rules and the respect of the dressing room and the football club just because the players feel like they can get away with it, and they have done in the past. Like, that's on Alejandro Garnacho. And then Marcus Rashford, I don't really get why, again, he has so many people around him. I don't understand why you, in December of last year, would come out and do an interview with Henry Winter, I think it was. It might have been somebody else, but that's the name that I remember. Saying that, you know, it might be the end of your time at Man United before the January transfer window opens. Like, you can't have thought that was a good idea. So your agent or whoever's behind you must have thought, yeah, let's manufacture a move away and say you want to leave. Like, why would you think that was a good idea when you're still there? You started Amorim's first game. You scored in Amorim's first game. You could have been there. If you wanted to, you could have been. And you haven't been training properly for about 2 seasons now, since your contract extension. And then after that mad purple patch that you had in that insane year under Ten Hag, you preceded that with another year of underperformance. So this isn't something new with Marcus Rashford either. So why Garnacho thinks that's the kind of guy to back at the moment, I don't understand. Unless something could have been done behind the scenes that we don't know anything about, and these are actually fair reasons to get annoyed and want to back your mate. But I just don't understand why you think that would be a good idea to do right now when there's already too many eyes on the club. It was almost like we kind of forgot about the Europa League stuff, and then teams were coming in from and all this, and then bam, a stupid Instagram post. Why? I'm not going to go and say you're an attention seeker, you're this. I don't know the guy. There's no point in labeling people in a way unless you have clear reasons to believe that they are. I don't yet, because I don't know who's behind all of this. He's probably the guy that's, you know, he's in the pictures, it's his account and all this, I know. Still a young kid, and I think he needs to worry about the people that's around him. And the same goes also for the likes of Jadon Sancho, who only a couple of days ago was priced himself out of a move to go to Napoli. Napoli's sporting director came out yesterday and said that they are not going to pay the wage demands of Jadon Sancho. Didn't even mention the fee. In terms of book value, we're willing to accept north of about £23 million to just make it even on the books for the time that he's been contracted at Manchester United. That's all we want. Clubs are quite happy to pay that. Chelsea were quite happy to pay that, but they weren't happy to pay his own wages. Meanwhile, you got someone like Anthony, who I don't even want to get into his court case, by the way. Not going to comment on that because I don't think I'm at liberty to. So I'm not going to say he's an incredible guy or any of this sort of stuff because, again, I don't know him. But at least as a footballer, you went to a place where you thought you get the best out of yourself. You've got the best out of yourself. And now I'm hearing reports that he might take a wage cut in order to go. So he's accepted the fact that the contract he was on that paid for the prospect of how good he was going to be, he hasn't lived up to that. So he's going to go to a place where he can get that value back up and get in contention for the Brazil squad. That's what Jadon Sancho should be thinking. That's what Garnacho should be thinking. That's what Rashford should be thinking. I'm not saying that Anthony's this pillar of magnificence that everyone should look up to, but the World Cup in 2026 is around the corner. We're 1 year away from it. And these guys don't even bother thinking, oh, maybe I'll do something to help my career. Maybe I'll do something to help this. It's all self-serving nonsense. Because Rashford only 3 days ago is coming out and doing interviews. Again, I'm not going to blame him for this because it is just answering a simple question. But where's the awareness? And if you don't have that, where's your team to do that? You can do your Players' Tribune statements. You can do all these little soliloquies and poems before a final and after we win the FA Cup and post yourself crying. You can do all of that. Whatever. But then you go during a transfer window and say, oh, I'd love to play with Lamine Yamal. Don't answer that question. Just don't answer it. Don't let that tape surface. Because didn't Lukaku do that? We all rinsed Lukaku when he went to Chelsea and said, I'd love to return to Inter one day. And it ruined him. But again, it didn't get the amount of attention that it gets because it's not Manchester United. If he said that at United, it would have been mental. There was more probably talking about a picture of Lenny Yoro, Kobe Mainoo and Pogba than there was any of this stuff. It's just ridiculous. And these people have been at Manchester United long enough to know that we are in a cauldron of constant attention. And if you can't live up to that, if you can't understand that, then you don't need to be here. Rashford, Sancho and Garnacho in various ways are crippling Ruben Amorim's ability to do anything moving forward because we had to let strikers go in the window. And weirdly, if you look at, I'm an eye test guy. I don't even like looking at stats, but generally we've been better in defense and we've been creating chances. We're not putting them away because really, if Rashford was firing on all cylinders and was happy and just did not even just happy. You got a contract. Do your job, work hard and play properly. Because I always have this thing, right? Like, I can't kick a ball anywhere near as well as these lot. But if I was given a quarter of them, no, a quarter of a percentile of the money that they're on, I would run until I died, because that's my club. Rashford, you say it's your club, you haven't proved it, in my opinion. You've run through injury and you've done all that stuff, and we backed you as a player, as fans, and with your contract. You're the one now that has gone the other way. Nobody else. He's the one that's gone the other way. Jadon Sancho, I don't need to talk any more further about him, how you go to Holland for 3 months and then you're given special dispensation to leave after a certain other right winger did the worst thing that someone can do and rightfully got booted out of the club. That spot opened up for you and you went away for 3 months to get your head sorted. Not a problem, because that's what you should get. Prioritize the welfare and mental health of players over anything else, because we've seen how that can go. No worries at all. You come back, you score one scabby goal, you do very little else, and you get angry at the manager when he says you're not training well enough. He's put his neck out on the line for you, and then you throw his neck on the guillotine. All these players are doing it. And it's just stupid. I'm not saying like Ruben Amorim really has deserved all the special dispensation in the world where he can be like, you know, he's finished here, he's done amazing football, he's done this. Ruben's not doing enough. We know this. Like, I'm not stupid. We finished 15th and we've had nothing to show for it. Ruben doesn't really have a right to be like, I'm this, you're this, and I'm whatever. But he does have a right to say, if you're not behaving or performing properly, then you don't deserve to be at Manchester United Football Club. And I'll bring in people who are. And they might not be of the right quality yet, which is the problem that we've been seeing, but they will be of the right quality soon, which is yet to be seen, which I hope we do, which is he is promising, and now he has to deliver. But in order to allow him to deliver, I don't know about you, but I'm much rather backing the person or backing the team who want to perform, who want to train, who want to do everything properly over people who are just all about serving themselves and their own brands over the welfare of the club that feeds them. I hate it. I hate it so much, and that's my rant. I hate it so much. This video, I'm not going to lie, is a bit of a therapy session for me, because I don't like what Garnacho did, and people can go on and say like, oh, like the Rashford stuff with the interview is innocent. The Garnacho stuff is innocent, and Sancho just wants to be paid what he's paid. If that's how you think, seriously, then we are so far gone, because I don't want to go. I'm not going to compare these guys to a Stam or a Beckham or a Van Nistelrooy or whoever, but when you got too big for your boots, you leave the football club because you're not welcome anymore. And then we'll see what happens on the other side. Right now, Rashford, didn't pull up any trees when he was at Villa. Started okay, got a couple of assists, was injured for the rest of the season. Brilliant. And then Sancho scored one goal in the Conference League final. Brilliant goal, to be fair. And another goal that I remember. Didn't do much else. And again, ranked lowest in the stats for attacking areas of any player in that team. Anthony's the one that's actually thriving. Garnacho hasn't been thriving. And he's got the nerve to mouth off about how he should be playing more when he hasn't put up the numbers in order to be able to justify that. And like I said, the standard that we've had in the past is that if you're getting too big for your boots, you've got to go. And there are going to be rival fans that watch this and be like, oh, you're just stuck in the past, you're doing all this. All right. People won't like me saying this, but I think Mikel Arteta got it bang on when he did it with Arsenal. I think when there were issues with Lacazette and Aubameyang, your two highest paid players, and bearing in mind, yes, there's probably less scrutiny on Arsenal than there is generally on Manchester United, and that's not a homegrown, like two homegrown players and that sort of thing, and someone who isn't as outspoken as a Jadon Sancho, for an example, but Aubameyang was a bagsman there. He's still broken records there. He was wearing Thierry Henry's number, got him out the club. He said, if you're not willing to fight, get out. Tore up the contract, off you go. I don't think we're in a position financially to do that, but the fact Arteta, in his first senior job as a manager, did that and has been getting results, you have to say fair play to the man. I mean, yeah, we've been in 5 finals and he's been in 1 since he's been there, but whatever. Do you know what I mean? And like, that's where this has to go. That's why I kind of like, I hate Liverpool, but when Slot had a bit of a Barney with Trent and left him out, good. When the Manchester derby with Amorim, when he left out Rashford and Garnacho, still got the win. Amazing. What a win for the manager. But now, the wins have to be Ineos and Amorim team up to be like, what is the culture of Manchester United that we want to instill? Who's not a part of it? Get them out and get the people in that can actually live up to the expectation that is there. Do that with good deals, with smart deals, with creative deals of good profiles that fit the manager's way of playing, that fits the versatility that he needs, the physicality and the technicality that he needs. And let's move forward, because they are anchors. Each of the 3 players I've mentioned, they're anchors. I'd love to be able to sit here and say, you know what, they'll turn it around and they'll be fine and they'll apologise and they'll, do what needs to be done and they'll love Manchester United and they'll be firing up on all cylinders, because when all of their talents combined at full throttle, they're good. Very good. Rashford is a magnificent footballer. People won't like me saying that. He's one of the best academy graduates that we've had in the last 10 years. Probably the best. And I just hate the way that it's gone. If it's too far gone, go. And we need to allow that to make it happen. And I'm sorry, I ranted for longer than I always rant longer than I do. But that's the way I feel about it. I love this football club so much. And I hate to see people just disrespect it like that. Because you're not disrespecting a badge. You're disrespecting generations of families that know what Manchester United is supposed to mean and know what it's supposed to live up to. And you're disrespecting every single one of them. And you shouldn't be allowed to represent us if you're going to continue doing this. This soap opera that's been Manchester United has to end. And Ruben Amorim and Ineos and all the people that are behind them instill the right culture at the club. It doesn't have to be exactly what it was before, because times have changed, but change them now. Thank you so much for watching. I mean, if you've got any more opinions on what I've said, either you agree or disagree, as always, keep it as respectful a manner as possible, and I'll respond to as many comments as I can. And drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. I feel a bit lighter, so I've low-key enjoyed it a little bit. And I hope you understand that the way I've been speaking and the way, even though I've been, maybe a bit more animated and angrier than usual, I'm still going to speak in a respectful and healthy way, because this is the healthiest football channel in the world. If you want to be a part of it, subscribe. Massive giveaway coming at 10k. Regular lives, regular shows, regular watch-alongs, and loads more coming to the channel. So please do stick around if you're enjoying it. And thank you to everyone who has become a member of the channel as well. You can do that yourself to support, and let's hope for brighter times ahead. This is going to be a massive week or so coming up to Manchester United with the new financial year kicking in for PSR reasons. So let's hope we can enjoy it. Take care, guys. Thank you very much.